Hello and welcome to Sheba online classes. Standard 10. Today I will be finishing off supplementary. That's the last supplementary, unit 7 supplementary, a dilemma, that written by Silas Weir Michel. Okay, first I will introduce the author. His name is Silas Weir Michel. He was a neurologist by profession. He was among the famous physicians of his time and prolific writer of both scientific and literary works. Then he is considered the father of neurology as well as a pioneer in scientific medicine. He published more than 25 literary titles, and his medical experience and background enabled him to write historical fiction with much psychological insight. Okay, so this lesson is also a person's psychology. This story what I'm going to tell you is about a person, about his psychology. So rightly written by Silas, how a person's mentality reacts when he is in such a cornered position. Okay, what he can do, what is the next step he is going to take, what his mind is telling him to do. Okay, heart and mind, what is it telling him to. So that kind of a dilemma. Dilemma means, what's the meaning of dilemma? Dilemma means a confusion. A confusion is in his head. What can I do? What is going to happen? So that kind of a thing. He is very much experienced, and as he is a psychologist, Silas, he is able to explain to you how this end story is going to start and this ending. Okay, so we will understand it very well. So this is it, and the characters are Tom and Uncle Philip. Okay, Tom is the main character. Okay, he only has got that tension, his dilemma, what he can, what is going to happen. Okay, so let's start the lesson. So first I will tell you the key points. Okay, so the key points, in that we can develop it, right? Okay, key points. First I tell you who is Tom. Tom is the narrator. That is this lesson is totally taken. He is narrating the story. What happened to him? How? Okay. So narrator. He is by profession. He is just a very poor clerk. Hardly he earns much money. Like he twice a day only he is able to, like 2 times a meal he is able to earn. That's it. Then Uncle Philip's sole heir. That is now, who is his uncle? His uncle's name is Philip. So Uncle Philip, he is the brother of Tom's father. He is a brother of Tom's father. He is a bachelor, inventor, ingenious mechanical engineer of what? Precious stone collector. Okay, that's what he is. So his uncle, what happened is, like this, I told you what is his profession. He is a very good mechanical engineer. He knows what to do, how to make. So mechanical engineer means so clever they'll be. But he is a bachelor. Okay, he has no family. So now his sole family is who? Tom. That is his brother's son, his nephew, his Tom. So he is giving him something. His heir means what? Heir means next after him, he only has to look after his property, that is completely in the will. Sometimes they write, no, if people before they die or something, they will write a will. Will means what? That is a dying statement saying, like the next property, if that person has got out of property, means that property has to go to his heir. So that who was his heir? His Uncle Philip's Tom. So what he had given, we will see in the story. Okay. The narrator's name was Tom. Uncle Philip was the brother of Tom's father. He was an inventor and a mechanical engineer. When he died, Tom was 37 years old. His mother advised Tom not to expect anything from his uncle. Uncle Philip was a bachelor and lived in a lonely life. He had a mania for precious stones collections. His collections was added to his safe at the trust company. Tom was sent by his uncle, who told him a strange story. He announced Tom as his heir and wanted him to pay for his funeral. Leaving an iron box for Tom, his uncle instructed him not to shake the box. Tom found a letter which read that the box contained sensitive dynamite. He started thinking of all the possible ways to open the box without being killed. He also consulted Professor Clinch, but did not yield any solution. His efforts to read about explosives led to suspicions, and he had to change his mind and occupation. At last, he gave the box to the Society for the Preservation of Human Vivisection. Okay, so what is the vivisection means? a surgery conducted on a living organisms for experimental purposes. Okay, so what happened? Finally he gave it up. Now the gist of the story I have told you, now the fully. So how it goes, how the story goes. Uncle Philip died when Tom, the narrator, was 37 years old. His mother advised Tom not to expect anything from him. Uncle Philip was Tom's father's brother, an inventor and a mechanical engineer. He was a bachelor and lived a lonely life. He collected precious stones. He had a manic for precious stones and became richer and richer. His collection was added to his safe at the trust company. Tom was a clerk, a kind of a poor clerk. He was sent by his uncle one day. That is, his uncle called him. He went to his uncle, who told him a strange story. He told how money-minded he was and confessed his wickedness and hoped to live in the memory of at least one member of the family. Generally thought to be poor, living on an annuity, Uncle Philip had never parted with his precious stones. So actually what he is saying, he is a miser. His Uncle Philip is a miser. He never shares his wealth to anybody. Okay. He says Tom will have it as he is his only heir. That is, whatever property he has got, he will give it to Tom. He would be happy to make at least one man happy before he died. He asked Tom to pay for his funeral, and that the safe with the precious gems was only his possessions. So what was given to him? A safe, that is a box, an iron box full of precious stones. So what will happen? That kind of a person like Tom, how happy he would have been, right? So what happened? Whatever earning he had got, he spent it for the funeral. Before Tom left, his uncle said the rubies were in the safe and that he should read the letter on top of it carefully and not to shake the box. He asked Tom not to come back. Uncle Philip died a week later and was handsomely buried. By whom? Who did the expenses? That is totally Tom. Whatever he being a poor clerk, but whatever he had with his position, that is whatever he earned, that money, fully he spent it for the funeral. Handsomely, that means very grand funeral he had given. The day after, Tom opened his safe and found nothing but an iron box made by his uncle. It was very heavy. Now he was surprised whether his uncle's words were true or not. So after spending everything for the funeral, then he goes to the house, whatever the key has given to him, he opens the chest. When he opens the chest, what did he see? He just found an iron box inside. So looking at the iron box, first he was very little set back. So what is this? Is it whatever you told me about the gems, Uncle Philip, is it true or not? Okay. He spent all he had for his uncle's funeral and was poorer than before. Or before he was poor, now he is poorer. That is comparative degree. Things seems odd and his uncle's cunningness seems true. He took the strange box to his lodging and carefully kept in a closet. The letter gave details about the contents of gems as well as a dynamite. So what? One side, one happiness, another side, a horror. Like what? He said there's a lot of gems. One letter had been given, and in that letter they were said what kind of a gems are inside. There are so many like red rubies, blood rubies, and this, that, so many pearls and all that. So reading the letter, he was very happy. At the same time, there was another that is a write-up saying about the dynamite. Okay, a warning that he should open it with belief. His expectations would grow. What is it? If you open it with belief, that is, he should believe whatever that is inside, whatever his uncle has said. Only then it will grow. Okay. If he opened it with doubt, he would be blown to atoms. So what? He should open it with what? With belief, saying his uncle has given him that box now. So have belief in him and then open the box. If he does not have a belief, with doubt, he has a doubt whether there is there or not, if the stones are there or not, that means what will happen? The atoms will just shatter and he will die. Okay. Then he tried ways and means to open the box. Thought about it for months and weeks as it was dubbed with terrible danger and a very great fortune. It confused him a lot. So this only is called the dilemma. Okay, dilemma means now he is totally confused what to do further. Okay, he met too many people for advice. So he taken the box, he's asked so many people what is it, how to open it, what is the thing outcome. If I open it, will the dynamite burst, will it create a big havoc? What happened? So he went to libraries for strong advice. Then Dr. Shah asked him to keep it aside and stop thinking or he would become mad. So he also he went to meet a psychologist, a doctor. Dr. Shah, his name is. He said, you keep thinking about him, you will become mad. So then he went to libraries for strong advice and knowledge about dynamites. Then afterwards what happened? Still he is not taking out from his mind. So he went to libraries. So how to find out what it is? So he went and saw read so many books about dynamites. So what kind of a dynamite it is, which when you open it will burst, that it will break. Okay. So then he became a slave of one very strange idea. So what happened? He became a slave. So he kept on thinking night and day. He is not eating, sleeping, nothing. And because of this madness, now what happened is he was actually engaged to a girl. One girl, he was a fair lady. He was engaged to. But looking at his kind of a franticness, there's a craze about that box. That lady left her. Okay, left him. He said, I'm not going to get married with you. So she broke up with him. So then he became a slave. He became a slave means he become totally addicted to the box. The strange idea. Between the leaves of the Bible, he found that numbered list of stones and their cost. The variety of rubies and their worth were described with the threat of death. That is, I'll tell you about the thing. What is the detail? I'll tell you now. A few minutes. Biographies written by the uncle spoke of the evil stones and of good stones. One, a black pearl, was mentioned as she. Like I just mentioned about the Bible, no? So let's see what it is in detail. I'll tell you. According to the list kept in the Bible, what can you infer of Uncle Jim's collection of stones? Okay, now collection of stones. What is it? One fine day when Tom was already groping in fear for the iron box may explode with careless handling by someone, found between the leaves of his uncle's Bible a numbered list of stones with their cost. So let's see what the stones are. It was dated 2 years before his uncle's death. Many of the stones were well known and their enormous value was also mentioned. Several of the rubies were described with the care and curious histories of them were given in details. One was said to be the famous sunset ruby, which had belonged to the Empress Queen Maria Theresa. One was called the blood ruby, not because of the color, but on account of the murders he had occasioned. The pearls were described with care as an unequaled collection. Concerning two of them, they seem to have done much evil and some good. Then genius like black pearl was mentioned in an old bill of sale which deemed queer. Genius like precious stones is chiefly prized because of their rarity. So this is what happened according to the Bible, what each stone is refers to. Okay, so then we will continue the story. Just I want to tell you about this. What are the evils that during the lifetime of his Uncle Tom, when he was living, everything, each ruby, that is a blood ruby, the black pearl, the white pearl, everything was telling about what kind of a life he was living. Okay, so this is one kind of a lesson he is teaching the narrator Tom. Okay, then let's continue. He was a clerk who knew only how to keep a ledger. Who is the clerk now? Tom. Following the strange words of his uncle was too much and absurd to him. It was like a riddle. He was rich, holding the rubies, but too poor, unable to use it. Okay, he asked his father, who told him that it was a cruel joke of his uncle. He also advised Tom to stop thinking about his fortune. 2 years went by and Tom continued to possess the fortune without being rich. Okay, so he had everything in his hand, but he is still not rich. Susan breaks off the engagement with Tom, considering him mad. So I just told you about his this engagement, his fiancée. So what happened is she just left him. So this fellow has gone mad. I cannot live with him. So advertisements about the box in journals brought out absurd schemes. He is asked to quit his house by the owner. That is, even now he lost his house. No earnings, no house, and no girl also. Okay. He moves to the suburbs, hides the box, changes his name and occupation. So what happened? He leaves the country, that is totally he leaves that place and he goes and lives somewhere in some remote place. Okay, because and what he did is he changed his name, he changed his profession, changed his looks, everything. See how crazy he's gone. He was happy to assist the government of officials to collect tax from his uncle's estate, being his heir. He showed them his uncle's letter, offered the key of the box and time to move away. The official said he would come later. Now Tom makes a will, leaving the precious gems to the society for the preservation of human vivisection. So finally what happened? Finally he gave up the box. Finally he gave up the box, saying that is enough, enough is enough. And then what happened? That is his uncle has got an estate, that property he had to, something he got, some the benefit he got, but that box which had the gems and the dynamite, what happened is he gave it to the trust, and since for who he gave? This vivisection, that is those who want to organs, no, that is they want to donate organs and help them, that kind of a thing, he just gave it to them. Feeling relieved, he went home. So this is the dilemma what he had, this Tom. So hope you understood this. Go through all the read the lesson once, because there are all the dialogues you must know. So there are a lot of dialogues in this. So that is, dialogue means that that is the narrator, Uncle Tom, Dr. Schaff, and then these are only three or four people only. So you must know who spoke these words, right? And you must prepare the summary also. I told you how to prepare the summary, no? Summary must have the synopsis, that is the introduction, characters, and then each stanza, that is each paragraph must have a heading, subheading. Then finished off with the conclusion, right? If you have any moral to write also, you can write towards the end. So this is it. Please go through it. See you next class. Thank you.